My name is Bob Nickelsberg. I'm a photojournalist, and I'm here visiting mountain film for the first time. When I started in 1988, working in Afghanistan, South Asia was the six-country region that I lived in, and I spent 12 years working in and out of New Delhi, India, for Time magazine. Obviously, before 9/11, the threat to journalists and photographers wasn't really on the radar, other than sort of verbal abuse, perhaps from the Arabs in Afghanistan, but generally Afghanistan was very open and hospitable to journalists. So now, with the advent of digital and satellite communications, every region that was considered remote, say 20 years ago, is no longer really remote. Somebody who is not in favor of you being there as a journalist can find out about your presence through social media, for instance, and that there's no way really to hide from that. You can't tell what goes on with a farmer's cell phone. They're the ones now that also feed their own social media platforms, but it's become much more sensitive to that. Technology has changed the profession in any number of ways, including our security. The assignment has changed. You're now feeding not just a hard copy publication, which I was doing once a week. 2 or 3 times a week I'd try to get film out of Afghanistan. It would have to be processed in New York. It would take 36 hours for the film to get to New York. Now you're feeding that same platform or that same publication on the web, and you're feeding it a few times a day, but it's not just once a week anymore, even though the Time magazine is considered weekly. So the whole tempo of filing, for instance, could be 2-3 times a day, and actually your whole professional metabolism and news gathering formula has changed. At the end of the day, it's not just gather all your film, caption it. You have to sit in front of a computer for 3-4 hours daily. That's in optimum conditions. One way that it has changed things is that you can influence more of the way the story goes, since I no longer have to rely on a photo editor, say in New York or Paris or London. I determine, with digital photography, you determine what goes up on the web. The message gets across more quickly. Whether or not that's a more effective way of telling a story, overall I think it is, but it just, speed now is almost as important as content. Monetarily though, that doesn't necessarily translate into a bigger income. You're asked to do more often, for less money, very often. I do protest or object to it. And you try to hold out for the best possible return on your investment. These are high-risk areas that I'm dealing with, story-wise. It's not, at the aquarium in San Diego, where the risk of you coming into contact with a killer whale is quite small. Ideally, for people who have a choice, long form is the way to go. 10,000-word pieces for a writer, 20 pictures in a website posting. You don't kill any trees, so to speak, for a web posting, but you do get that breadth of a story that's so crucial to long-form journalism. But storytelling is still an inexact science, and you do try to perfect that your whole professional life.
Have you perfected it? Do you think you got it down?
No way. Still work to be done.
Fantastic.